Hi, this is Patrick and Dottie. It is October 1st, 2022, and I'm coming to you today for Total War for the Win as a live stream. Today we're going to be looking at getting another achievement, actually cumulative three achievements. If you can do one, you can get all three at once. For the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. So that is in Steam here. It's not really. So there's disaster averted. So actually, let's look at achievement stats. So 2.6, recover at least one legionary eagle from Teutoburg Forest on normal difficulty or higher. So that's disaster averted. That's like the first level. Then the next level, this army will fight on, recover at least 2 legionary eagles from Teutoburg Forest on normal difficulty or higher. So that's about 0.3% rarer in terms of 2.6% of the people have it versus 2.3. And then Masters of Germania, recover all 3 legionary eagles from Teutoburg Forest on normal difficulty or higher. So that's 1.8%. So that's like half of the people that got the first one get that one. So we'll be able to get that today because they fixed the mission so that it doesn't just black screen when I get to the second part. More on that in a minute. First, I wanted to kind of discuss something about kind of the stream and how it works in terms of like if you were I was looking at trying to get the next Total War game and kind of seeing what the next one would be because they don't really tell you, they don't have like trailers and stuff for the next one. Warhammer 3 just came out. So that is actually what the most current Total War game is. There was Troy, which was a Saga game, and then after Troy Total War, they had Warhammer 3, and now they should be done with Warhammer, completed the trilogy. It's a huge game. They'll have all 3 parts combined into one. So that's going to be kind of a big deal, but I'm glad that they're done with it because I know they made a lot of money off it, which is good because then they'll keep making games, but they also kind of neglected the historical titles a little more during the kind of Warhammer process. They did have 3 Kingdoms, but that's almost like an RPG because it's really heavily focused on heroes. Same thing with Troy. So I'm hoping they get back to more of a kind of more traditional historical game because you can play those historically, but I don't know how much they're made to be played historically. Just like the focus might be more on the heroes, and then it's like you could play it historically, but the way that it all kind of fits together and works might be geared towards more of a like RPG process or program because that's what Warhammer 3 is. 1, 2, and 3. They're almost like an RPG game with like the heroes that a hero could take out like half an army, depending on which army it is and how advanced the hero is and which hero it is. So that doesn't seem as much fun to me because I don't like learning about the heroes as much and doing kind of the personal management. If you want to do that, you could do more Crusader Kings, maybe. That's more of a people game. It's focused more on people than like an overall faction or economy or whatever. Anyway, Total War. So I was looking at, let's see. Okay, here we go. the community. So where can I go to get involved in the Total War community? So they actually have LinkedIn too, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I follow them on LinkedIn because I'm on LinkedIn more because I'm kind of older and I have to go to work. So those are good places if you're looking at just social media things, but you can also get more insight into their company if you go on LinkedIn. Because it says like how many people work there, what their job titles are, what they do kind of every day if you look at their profiles, because that'll have like their kind of LinkedIn resume and it'll say kind of what they actually do, which is another way to look at kind of how the game works and what's going on at the company. So you can go to the influencers contact page here if you want to stream Total War content. I actually messaged them before I started this channel and they just said it's fine that I'm doing a YouTube channel. What's going on here is if you have more advanced kind of streaming channels than I do, you can actually become a like content partner, verified content creator, and then you get pre-release content and you're actually like kind of in their network as a person promoting the games that isn't exactly an employee. So you're not like affiliated directly, but you kind of help them out and they kind of help you out because they give you the games to kind of show and play through or whatever. And then you get to kind of have viewers and gain some measure of popularity or fame or whatever you want to do with whatever your channel is kind of based on. So you need like 4,000 views on YouTube for like Rome 2, 3 Kingdoms, Warhammer 3 to become a content partner, which isn't that many. If we look at like Warhammer 3, just as like an example, kind of go through this. This is kind of like business stuff, but it's good to know. So if we look at Warhammer 3 reigns supreme on latest Steam sales chart. So they sold about 36 million copies as of April 2021. Oh no, that's the series. So that's Warhammer 1 and 2 before this release. And if we look here, it says, it doesn't say. Total War, Warhammer 3 Steam sets. $1.6 million units sold, right? So you're looking at kind of like 4,000 viewers out of maybe 1.6 million people, which isn't a lot. If you divide by 1,000, you need like, let's do that. So you have 1,600 million. So that many people. Oh shoot. 4. Right. So you need 0.25% of people that play it. And it's like if they're on your channel, it says, what's it say here, that people play 40 hours, 60 hours. And this is the newest one, released February 16th, so that'll go up as time goes on. They'll probably re-release Warhammer 1 through 3 as like a package, like they did with Rome 2 Total War Emperor Edition, so that'll be interesting, that'll come out, and it'll probably be cheaper than each individual unit, and maybe have some fluffy kind of add-ons that you only get from the package, and then they'll probably revise some of it so that it's more balanced, or the game goes smoother, or just kind of the pace is better, or whatever they need to change to kind of make the game experience better. So that's what they'd be looking at here. 4,000 viewers. See like Rome 2 Total War. So if you're looking here at this, so improved, let's see what it says. Yeah, see, you can get it pretty cheap. Like I got it like $6 or something, so I got it at a pretty low price for the US. You have to wait for a sale though. Let's do this website, VG Insights. Okay, 1.2 million copies, so 2014. So it's sold more probably with Emperor Edition. Okay, well, it's over a million. Yeah, see, 800,000, 2013. So they're in the million plus range. So, you know, you only need like less than a percent of the people that play it to even watch your channel. But you have to probably be pretty good. You have to have content that makes sense, it's relevant, but maybe they might not know on their own if they're viewing it, and it might help them with something. So it has to be kind of something that makes sense. So you do an application, and then you get stuff, creating content for the last 2 months consistently. Anyway, so this is like kind of the front door. Larger channel with continued interest in Total War. You have 100,000 subscribers, 50,000 Twitch followers, which you could potentially get. I do know that there's a book I got a while back from Barnes & Noble. And then this guy said he kind of didn't even do anything. And he worked on, this Taylor Swift's website, kind of made it easier to use, reworked it so that you could make changes easier. But he said he's just like a random developer, and he got 1 million followers in like 30 days. So if you kind of did some stuff with Steam and this book and maybe some other content, advertising, marketing books, you could probably get pretty early access to some of this stuff. So you have to sign an NDA to kind of work on the games, be a game tester, whatever. So that's the kind of front door to getting what the next game is, because it's just a lot of speculation, but no one really knows. It's like Star Wars; it's a big franchise, so it's hard to tell what the next one's going to be. I think maybe Medieval again, or Emperor, or the Empire, but Medieval they did again with like Attila kind of. So, and I know they have like Attila going into like the Age of Charlemagne and stuff. So, and then they have mods that are later. So it's almost like Medieval 3. So what else? So that's kind of the front door. But then you could also, this is what I was doing first. And it's like, well, if you're going to try to figure out the game, it might make more sense to just have a channel and have people follow you if you have like, you know, you're into the game and you have stuff that makes sense to show. So if we look here, this is a website called tryhackme.com. I'm a subscriber, and it kind of teaches you Windows, or not Windows, just computer security. Because it's not really taught in schools. There's not a whole lot of resources out there for this, and they're kind of varied, and then they're not all great. So this one I found is pretty helpful, at least for the basics. Maybe if you're more advanced, you'd have to go somewhere special or do something special. But I don't want to do too much of a plug for this. But they basically have these like learning paths and badges, and they kind of gamify learning how to be like a cybersecurity person. So they have like that you can do, try to get this CompTIA pen testing, which is penetration testing, so it's trying to get into servers or get information. Web fundamentals, this is good. Almost everyone should know this, just because they use a computer. And then some of these pre-security is good. Complete beginner, I'm on these like intro beginner ones. And I don't even know, I'm like halfway through one of them. I think I did fundamentals and pre-security, and I think I'm on complete beginner now. It says 64 hours, but it's taking me longer. But if you look here, see, I'm like 60%. I haven't done it for a while though. And they give you little like badges, kind of like Steam, to keep you interested. But it's good to know just kind of the basics, because it's like there's all this software for it. So if you were like a hacker, because I was like, oh, let's see if I can use some of my basic skills to look at their website and see what's going on with it, because I want to see how secure it is and if I could like get the game info or not. And I couldn't, because you'll see why in a minute. But and why it's kind of making more sense to just be a streamer if you wanted to do that, which I don't, because I don't want to be that popular. But because I might have to worry about what content I have. Right, so the first thing you would do is like enumerate them. So you do nmap, and then, which is like a way to kind of look at what ports they have open on their website. So we look at we're looking at their website. So that means sin, so that's silent, and then this is verbose, and then we look at website. Oh, right, it doesn't copy it because this is a virtual machine. So you have to open a virtual machine. If you have an account here and subscribe, it's like $10 a month. They'll set up your own virtual machine, and you can just keep starting it up. It's an attack box. If you're really serious about this, they were saying you should get like your own computer that has a virtual machine on it, because then if it's so you don't get traced, basically. What we're doing today isn't really illegal, so it doesn't really matter. But if you were going to kind of turn to the dark side or whatever, then that's apparently the way you'd go. So what we have is, so we put in their website, and it says they're looking for open ports to see what stuff they have up. And then what you'd want to do is try to get in one of those ports and do something to try to like get into their account, an account that gets on a server, and then could get to another server, and could like see a project that has like a name, that has like files in it that say like where the game's based or different units or whatever. Try to figure out what's going on, but we can't really get there because we're not sophisticated enough, and it takes too long. And it's illegal, and it's important that we don't break the law. Okay. So if we look here, am I still streaming? Alright, I am. Good. So, this takes time. It scans, most common, 8,000, 10,000 ports. I don't remember exactly how many it scans, because I haven't done this in a while. You can see your progress here. So it says for me that, where is it? It says I'm in the top 4%, but that just means I did more. It doesn't mean I'm actually that good. And they have this chart here that's like your skills. So it's like I kept in the fundamentals because that makes sense for me at my job. Because a lot of those things make sense to know just as like a software developer. And then Linux is good to know because that's a really common kind of setup for servers. And then like the command line is good to know. And then this other stuff I don't know as much. Privilege escalation, I've never done that. So that's what's going on there. If we look at my badges, it's like, hey, a lot of these are just from going through the classes. This one's important, phishing, because that's a way that a lot of people get kind of their info stolen. It's like, if we look at the website, let me see. Look at phishing, it's like one of the most common exploits, and it's social engineering. So it actually has a lot to do. Actually, is a bit like marketing. I'll try this again. So if you were good at like marketing, you would probably be kind of good at phishing people, but then you might not have the technical skills. It depends on, because it's set up so you have to know how to use a computer too. Not just all about people. So right, so top cybersecurity threats. So there are lots of these. Let's see which one makes sense. See this one, look at what it shows. It's going to show, oh, that's not helping. No, that's not what we wanted. See, social engineering and accidental something. So it's going to keep showing phishing as like a top thing. No, these aren't really. Yeah, phishing is like a top one. Other ones are all kind of not as big. You go different, but I mean, they're all different sizes. Like, right? They're all different fractions. That's open source intelligence something. So that means they just look stuff up, I think. Okay, well, phishing is like a huge deal. So anyway, I don't know the exact percentages, but that's what it would show. So a lot of phishing. Top like three issues would include phishing. Where did this go? Badges, all this stuff, cyber defense investigation. I did this admin of cyber. That was kind of like a little game. That one thing a month for the week of December, up till Christmas. So it's like an advent calendar, but with like a cybersecurity challenge. So that had a lot of good little tricks, especially if you're new. It's a good place to start. But it's like, see, this just keeps going. So, oh, now we got it. So it says there's one IP address. And it says, oh my goodness. Look at all these ports and services. It's like it's going to take like a day just to figure out what's even open. So out of 1,000, I think. Is that right? It does 1,000. Ericsson self-scan, 1,000 ports, 691 ports, so that's 9 to 700, so 309 services, ports open, and it's like, oh, we could look at FTP and SMTP and then HTTP, so that's the website, and then all these different things. HTTPS, that's on 443. So then what you'd look at doing is like saying, okay, well, there is like an FTP server, so that's going to have files on the network. They can go to other places on the network. So that'd be a good place to start. But you would need, and then you could use like a word list, and you need a username, and then you'd try passwords, and then you keep trying to do stuff doing that. But so there, like, because there are different methods, right? But that would take time, and you'd have to figure out a username, and then you'd have to figure out a password, and then you'd have to be able to get in, and then they'd have to know. You have to be able to get in even if you're not on their network, because they might have a network that's stopping you from logging in. So we'll look at what's it called? It is right. So this is who owns this, and it says there is no totalwar.com. Huh. But there is, right? So where is it? I think we can use their IP address. Let's see. We have their IP address here. Oh, here it is. Right. So it says they don't know who the thing is, who owns the website, but that doesn't make sense. So they can't get around like the IP address, especially if it's HTTPS. They have to have a record of who actually set up this domain. So this is what like the open source intelligence is. It's called OSINT. This is when you it's just kind of like snooping. It's like casing the joint. This is what enumeration is. It's like casing them. It's not illegal to just like watch a building, usually. Sometimes there's like no loitering, but it's like you can still kind of just hang out somewhere else nearby and like watch a building. But the police do it too, because they're like, that's when they're on stakeouts, it's like the same thing. It's just like, oh, but now we're getting the guy that cased the joint. So it's like that there's a guy watching like a store, and then they're like watching the guy watching the store, and it's like, okay, whatever. Which is kind of what we have going on here, because I think, if I remember when I did this before, it says that this is encapsula.net. Encapsula Inc. So I have to look up Encapsula Inc. And then these are like the people to contact if like you have questions about the site or something goofy's happening. They're like the network administrators, and they're on Imperva. So they're at Imperva, and they're also at Encapsula Inc. So let's look up Encapsula Inc. cybersecurity lead at Imperva Inc. See, Imperva Encapsula is an American cloud-based application delivery platform. See, so they've got their Imperva stuff, so it's a branch of Imperva. Imperva is the parent organization, and Imperva is headquartered in San Mateo. Oh, right where I live, right by here. Mid-Peninsula Bay Area. So I could just drive to their office and like watch them, like case them out, but I'm not going to because I don't have time. Just kind of the whole issue with this is that it takes lots of time and it's not really direct, and there's no like guarantee that it'll work. With like the streaming stuff, there's no guarantee it'll work either, but it's like, why would we do things that are illegal, that take too long, that might not work, that you have to know even more things for, instead of reading like one book, because it's like, I know I read more than one book to get to here. I'm not even that good at it, because I don't need to know it. So anyway, it's like, okay, so a pretty big company, mid-sized to big company, it's 20 years old, these are the people. So CRNs, what's that? Computer Magazine, Reseller News, Security 100 list, so they're probably good. One of the best WAFs. Web application firewall. So that means that they're going to be good at like blocking out things you do. Software stack. So it's probably in the cloud, and it's probably just all this stuff. So they have a dedicated kind of cybersecurity place running like their stuff, or at least having like a gate onto their stuff. So that means this is going to be hard, because that means there's actually a person that's dedicated to stopping people from going in and trying to get all their goodies, which makes sense because as a software company, they're going to, we have any viewers now, they're going to have mainly intellectual property as their asset and kind of revenue source. So it makes sense that they should really be guarding their technology, because that is kind of what they do. If they have that get compromised, they could be in so much trouble if someone makes like a game based off it or steals it and uses it for something, and then they spend all this time developing it. So that makes sense that they have someone who's actually dedicated to looking at kind of stopping cybersecurity stuff and stopping kind of that, sabotage, theft, compromising their network, whatever. And then that also explains to some degree why they have 309 services, because they are technical and they work on the computer and then they make a computer game. So this is not really like a soft target. It's not like, they have a website and then they don't really have security on it, and they don't really have maybe as many sales, and they don't have money to spend on like a security person or whatever. Just different kind of situations that would be different. I know, like for my stuff, for example, a lot of the time when they show you these examples, it's like a freshman project, sophomore project, or like a guy that just works somewhere and does security, but they're not really like a security specialist. So this is going to be hard if we do this like to kind of get the basics down, and then they are like people that work all day on this. So let's look at one of these people, see if we can figure out who they are from open source intelligence. We're looking at, let's just do Nicole, and that's too common a name. Let's do, I haven't seen this name before, so we'll try this one. This seems like a more unique name. See, and you got their email, so that's when you start trying to fish them. It's actually called whaling if they're in this sort of position of authority. Uh, what's it called? It's a higher level form of fishing. So instead of just trying to cast a net or throw out a line and reel something in, it has to be something bigger. So it's going directed at someone that's higher level, and then that way you could theoretically get more access to the technology or their credentials because you're getting someone higher level. It's like if I'm at a college like USC or whatever, like I was, someone could try to fish me and then it could work, but then they only get like my student stuff. So they might be looking more at trying to get someone, because this was an issue when I was there, trying to get someone that's like a professor or administrator or like some kind of alumni or something, because they have kind of more influence, and then they have more responsibility. So it makes sense to kind of get someone higher level than like a student, because why would we go get a student? It's like they don't have any money, and then they have like their grades, and then it's like this is not important. So it's how, and especially with like time being limited and that things take time and that there's not a whole lot of payoff for doing that kind of thing. So if we look here, Tewksbury. Let's look up Carl Tewksbury. It's either based in San Mateo, but if we look at Imperva, Capsula, let's see where this is based. Redwood Shores. Oh, so that's like a town away. That's like bordering my town. It's like 2 towns from Redwood City, or San Mateo. It's like 1 town from Redwood City. And I'll kind of name the same thing. So that's going to be local. Let's see what it says here. Capsula is cloud-based, so that means that their stuff's all in the cloud. But they're good at blocking it. I was going to say here that they're good at blocking it. Top 10 companies to participate in the RSA conference. So they're a top security company, so we're probably not going to be able to get into their stuff very easily, unless we have like a gang. And that's like a lot of times they have like these hacker gangs, and then they do these jobs, and it's like a heist in GTA, and then they go in, it's like, it's a lot less exciting because it's not just sitting at computers. So let's see if we can find a Carl Tewksbury. I think I said Tewksbury. It's Tewksbury. Yes, there are different guys. Now it just says, okay, we'll try this again. We'll try someone else's name because that was too common to many people. We can go back to it if we don't find someone else that is less commonly named. Midstand Gilkis. I don't know any Midstands, so. Oh, here we go. Israel and Perva. So we can go check out, see what they look like. Oh, we can't see what they look like. See, team lead, because he has authority, like I thought. So He'd have probably enough influence or credentials that you could get around with his stuff if you fished him, but the guy would totally know what phishing is, so it kind of won't work. You probably have to try someone that's less of a cybersecurity aware person, so maybe someone at the company that isn't maybe as technical or is newer, so like maybe an art person, and then because they have a lot of artists to work for them, and then maybe a newer person, and then it's like you're not supposed to be like say politically incorrect things, but probably a woman because they are more trusting and can be kind of more responsive. So it's kind of like we wouldn't really want to do the guy that's like the team lead for this that was in the Israel Defense Forces and programming for 6 years. So that's not really going to work. Which is kind of like, this is when the psychology stuff for marketing makes more sense. But that's, anyway, this is already taking like too long. This is like, I could just keep making the show for a few hours and then advertise it somewhere where I know there'll be Total War people, and then try to read that book and try to get 4,000 views, which isn't that off because, like it said, that there were, where was it? There were 36 million people that got Warhammer 1 and 2 so far, or were in the series, so it's like Warhammer 3 could have a theoretical sales of like 30 plus million. You need 4,000 people to watch your show. So that seems like a kind of better way to go. Anyway, and I also have like a job, and I don't want to break the law and kind of jeopardize my position. So that is what is going on here. How long have I been streaming? 42 minutes. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. There's kind of more background though on this. It's good to know this kind of because we live in the real world and this is how this works. Different people. So we could like call them. We could try to get info from calling them. I know sometimes they call people and say like, oh, you need to do this, and then or go to this website or do this thing as like tech help or tech support, and then it's like, but they're not really tech support, and they're just trying to get your info. So that's kind of what is going on. Oh, it says Redwood Shores here, so I should have read that. But yeah, you're probably not gonna, it's unlikely you're gonna get into this like place where they have these security specialists stopping you, unless you're in like a cyber hacking gang or something. You have like a group or, I don't know. So it's not really that useful in this case. Easier ways to get the information if that's what you want. Legal ways to get the information. So it's just not, I mean, this is like fun, but this is kind of too special sometimes, or like unless it's like something that's a bigger deal. So it's like it has to actually make sense or be a big deal or have more impact on like your life. So it's like it's fun, like a fun game, but it doesn't really make sense to do. Anyway, which is kind of like the game. Total War is a fun game, and it's also not real, but it's fun to do. Which is why actually I did a test with this, and it says if you're playing Risk, you'd probably be good at penetration testing, because it takes patience, and you have to plan, you have to keep trying different measures to get through stuff, and then, anyway, this is always important in OWASP. So it's going to show the top 10 OWASP issues, Open Web Application Security Project. And it's like a lot of it's that someone did something wrong on their end, setting up the server, like that the authentication doesn't work, that you can add in code here with an injection, that you can add in, and more XML that you're not supposed to. There's like a leak that they did that you can get to that they don't know about. Broken access control that you can access things you shouldn't. Misconfigured that they set up something wrong. Insecure deserialization, which is something they set up wrong again. Known vulnerabilities, so that's like that they use a third-party thing that has an issue. And insufficient logging and monitoring, that means that like they set up the logs wrong. So it's like all this stuff that means kind of they did something wrong, and then so you have to wait for them to make an error, have an error, and then you can kind of go in and do something about it. It's not a whole lot you can do on your own to just automatically get in, which is also important to know. So that's why when they're like professionals and they do this all the time, you're probably not getting in that easily. That's not to say you can't. It probably could happen if you had like 36 million people looking at something, and then people are technical because a lot of them are going to be men or boys, and then they already have a computer, and then like the demographics would be kind of nerdier computer people, maybe. So it's like theoretically they could get hacked just from how many people there are. And they probably did have to implement a security measures because of like how many people were trying to get in at some point. But it doesn't really seem to be worth the time. Anyway, enough about that. Gonna get on to the game itself. I was able to play Teutoburg Forest today and actually got Masters of Germania, which is the 3rd level kind of achievement. This is kind of a way that builds up into the Battle of Alesia. So if you win this, you're on the right track towards winning the Battle of Alesia, and it uses elements of this sort of strategy or planning to get the 3 Legionnaire Eagles out that you need to use for the Battle of Alesia. So this is like a kind of first step towards winning the Battle of Alesia, because it uses the same kind of elements, and it's a similar kind of situation where you're outnumbered, and it's like a not normal situation where it's like a battle and there are 2 armies or 3 armies, or a siege with 2 armies. So this kind of special situation is important to know because it sets up the basic kind of strategy, some of the basic strategies for beating the Battle of Alesia, which is harder. So you should do this one first. So I did it in the wrong order, but this is a good one to start with. Right. So let's get to it. Sure, this channel's still up. 48 minutes, okay. So this took about 25 minutes today, and I did it in one go. Because I'm a better player now. It took me a few times the first time I played it. Working out the strategy and learning what's going on. But after I've done it, you do it a few times, and you kind of know the units and how to do things better, and then it gets easier.
9 AD, after a busy summer's campaign, the Roman general Publius Quinctilius Varus marched his legions towards winter quarters south of the Rhine. Though he didn't know it, he was being led into an ambush by his trusted lieutenant Arminius. A noble of German birth, Arminius was raised in Rome and served in her legions. He knew all about Rome's military strengths and her weaknesses. Varus! Oh! Quintus Varus! Give me back my legions! You are walking into a trap, Varus! The German will betray you. He will betray Rome. Arminius, a traitor? I think not.
Oh, he's got his wolf. Got his wolf hat.
Rome may have raised me, trained me, but my loyalty is to my people!
Okay, so the overview is this is like an ambush. You're not going to be able to fight everyone, so that we're going to have to do a fighting retreat, which is kind of like what the trick is at Alesia. I was saying the bunting. So you're going to have to sacrifice some of these units to actually get the Eagle legions, which are the Eagle cohorts units. I guess they're not legions. But the Eagle cohort has to get to here. And there have to be enough people in it to, like, kind of function, because there's going to be a second stage. So we're going to have to do kind of like a fighting retreat. Some of these other units are going to have to kind of hold them off and kind of delay them. Which is what happens with Alesia, but they have to send them up to the hill to block them. So it's the same kind of thing. We want to stop them from getting to these 3 key units. Because if we really only need these 3 units and Varus to get to the end. But then there's a second stage. So that's like if we look at, where does it have objectives? Okay, well, anyway, we need Varus to live, and he's in the Legatus, and then we need as many Eagle legions as we can to get to the end, and then any other units we can get to the end is also great. So if we look here, we're going to make these 2 cavalry, 1 command group, and then have the Eagle legions as another command group, and they're really good. So they're like melee attack 64, melee defense 76, but we don't want them to actually fight as much as we can. We want them to try to get past all the units and to the end. So we want the other units to do most of the fighting. So we're going to send that guy up here. We're going to send this guy up here. we're going to... These guys are going to run down the hill. This guy's going to go here. And then these guys will have to kind of come out here to block it so that there's a path for the guy to go through. Or a path for the Eagle cohort to get through. So, and then this guy will just kind of, let's see, legionary cohort.
Sons of Mars! We're under attack! Look to the Eagles! Defend them! Infantry! Advance at speed! March! Spear infantry, ready! A great man!
So, another thing that's going wrong is that there are all these units.
Infantry! To forward! Glory! General! Advance! Keep moving! We must get through! Wherever is Arminius? Someone find Arminius! We need his auxiliaries! Ready and waiting! Eagle cohorts! General! Many infantry at your command! Brave Romans to a man! Man at speed! Follow me! Quick march! Ready! And get...
See, so they have to kind of hold back here. Use a couple of units.
Ready for orders! Brave Romans to a man! Brave Romans to a man! Double time, Commander! Eagle cohort! The double time! Infantry, attack! Melee infantry at your command. Romans ready for duty. Infantry! Proud Romans all! Eagle cohort! General, Commander, Mandat and Tour! Eagle cohort! Commander! Brave Romans to a man! Legionary cohort! At speed! Melee infantry ready! Brave Romans to a man! Riders, advance! Sons of Mars, your orders? Quick march! Legionary cohort! Infantry! Advance at speed! Riders, advance! Infantry, your orders ready! Jupiter gives us strength! Infantry, commander! Advance!
Ready and waiting! Advance at speed!
We await orders! Sons of Mars! Ready! Riders at the double! Follow me quickly now! Run forward! Legionary cohort! Melee troops! Engage your orders! Romans ready for duty! Eagle cohort!
Spears ready! Marzidas!
Romans ready for duty! Advance ready and waiting! Run forward! Orders! Advance! Infantry! Tribuners! Ready! Proud Romans all! Ready and waiting! Melee troops awaiting orders! Forward! Your orders! General! Riders! Orders! Advance! Commander, at your service! Eagle cohort!
Spearmen at the ready!
Melee infantry ready!
So we got through the first phase. Varus had to live. We got all 3 eagles.
You're on your own. Horseman, with me. Double time.
So what happened here is Varus ran away. See, Eagles controlled 303, got the Legionnaire Eagles out of the forest. So that's where the objectives were. So we'll say this is 1, this is 2, say, so we want these guys to get out of the way.
Eagle Forest! Accursed coward! Push forward while he distracts the enemy!
See, so they've got a bunch of horses. He's heading over here somewhere. They're having attacking issues.
Ready for duty!
We'll leave these guys here to stop the cavalry.
And spears ready! Spears ready! Double time!
They're not running. What's going on? I'm supposed to try to get out of here.
At speed! Advance at speed!
So I think for this part, the secret is that we don't engage,
Sons of
that we
Mars!
try to just get to the end as fast as we
And
can.
ready and waiting!
And that's what the whole secret is. And see, is this in? No.
Get running! Move it! Eagle cohort!
So we're gonna have.
Spear infantry ready! Brave Romans to a man! Infantry! Quick march! Romans ready for duty! Advance at speed! Charge! Legionary cohort! Melee infantry ready! Legionary cohort! At speed!
See, so I have to get to here.
Look to the rear! Berserkers! Go! Get the standards out! The legions do not fail!
Okay, so we gotta keep these guys
Double
moving.
time!
They're in pretty good health, so that's good.
Quick!
We're not going after them. And then back here, they're gonna go after the horses.
Hark, echo!
So if we can delay them.
running! Hot moving!
That'll be good. These guys need to keep moving too.
Ready for battle! Rally, men! We're nearly clear of the forest! Ready and waiting! At the double! Infantry! Eagle cohort! Legionary cohort! Ready! Your orders! Ready! Double time! On at the double! Your orders! On advance at speed! Quick march!
So I think we just have to get past these guys. But they're good, so.
At speed! Infantry! Charge! Your orders? At speed! Proud Romans all! Quick march! Legionary cohort! cohort! Legionary cohort! To forward! Commander! Oh, charge! Melee troops! Infantry! Advance!
So those are 3 eagles. They must fight better with the eagles. Hide, formation, encourage, discipline. What's encourage? Morale bonus to nearby allies. Okay, so we took out those guys, so now they're free and clear. And we only need the eagles to get out, so they should be good to go here.
Romans ready for duty!
See, so these guys have to stall the other units, and that's how.
Forward, Commander! Stand forward! Orders! The charge! Sons of Mars!
That's how you win this, and that's how you win Battle of Alesia too. So it kind of builds. If you've done this one, then it's like, oh, now the other
We're
answer
clear of the
seems
woods! The legions are preserved!
less complicated.
Thank the gods we made it out of that infernal forest. May Mario give strength to those we left behind.
What about Varus?
No one knows. Even fewer care.
Arminius! No!
So. Yeah, see how few kills I got, that's important. Anyway, that's how you win the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. So I guess they didn't give me a star for that either, so I don't know why. Because I did beat it on normal, but they didn't count it. So that might explain Alesia a little. So I'll go back to that at some point. Just have to practice, I guess. And then we have some other battles too. I think Raphia is pretty easy, so I might try that one next. It's harder than Zama, but it's still not that hard. So, that is where we are. That's how you get 3 Legionary Eagles from Teutoburg Forest on normal difficulty or higher. You can up the difficulty, but it doesn't show it on the map, so then it's hard to remember if you update or not, because it doesn't have the star to record it. Let's see. Stream's still going. Okay. So that should wrap up the episode for today. Thank you for joining me. Again, I'll be here next week, and we'll likely do another battle. And this was Patrick and Dottie with Total War for the win. Have a good weekend.